Hey everybody, this is Melina from ScrapbookingwithME.com and Me Crafty Scrapper here on YouTube and Instagram. Today with M's Scrap Busters, we are making some little scrap tag notepads, scrap notepads, scrap junk journal notepads, whatever we want to call them. That's what we're making today. And these are so cute, put into a little pocket or a tuck on your page in your journal. And I want you to look beyond pattern papers or printed papers that you put in these little notepads, because you can add interest to these little things, and each page does not have to be functional to write on. You can do whatever you would like in these. If you want every page to be able to be written on clearly, then you'll have to cut up a bunch of copy paper or coffee dyed paper or whatever. I'm using what I have in my stash, in my bowl of scraps. And some of it was dictionary page, and some of it was book page, and some of it already had writing typed out on it, and some of it was scrapbook paper. And I just put it in there, and I'm okay with, see, I can still write on that. That's a piece of scrapbook paper. I can still write on the back if I want to. This page, I can write here. I probably can't write on the back, but I could put a piece of coffee dyed paper on the back if I truly wanted to write on that page. Just put on a piece of coffee dyed paper or copy paper and write to your heart is content, right? But most all of mine you can easily write on any of it. And these use up so many scraps. And if you're like me, you have lots and lots and lots of paper scraps. So you are always looking for ideas to use them up. That's why I think my M Scrap Busters challenges each week are very popular, because people are always looking for ways to use up scraps and not have to, if you don't need to, buy new product. You can use up what you have before you go and spend that money on whatever product you are needing. So if you have a hole punch, and I'm going to show you how you can sew them together. So if you have a sewing machine, great. If not, you don't have to have a sewing machine. I didn't use a sewing machine on this one. If you've got some scrap fabric, go ahead and get that out. Some little scrap pieces to collage your cover, go ahead and get little scrap pieces out. I need to ink the back of this one. So I used the same paper on the front and back of this one just to kind of keep it matchy-matchy, but you don't have to do that either. And on this back side, since I knew that on the inside it wouldn't be seen that much, but if we're pulling it in and out of a pocket, the back would be seen. So I just turned it around, and this just so happens to be some one-sided, single-sided scrapbook paper. So that's why I turned it around this way, so you can see it from the back. Okay. This is just some cut off, the little cut aparts from a paper pad. So that's what my front and back of this one is. And then a little piece of scrap paper at the top. And then hole punched and put some ribbon. And if you've been scrapbooking or paper crafting of any kind for long, you have all kinds of ribbon and stuff, and maybe you're not even using it. Well, I've come up with a way for you to be able to use up some of that ribbon. Okay, so first off, you're going to start with a bigger piece of scrap or a cut off or something like that. This is a cut off from a piece, I'm not even sure, Simple Stories maybe. But I'm not going to make it this big because my scraps that are in my bowl over here are not this big. So I need to make it a little shorter. And then I might make it about 3 inches wide maybe. So you can make these whatever size you would like and just go by what scraps that you have. So I'm going to first off go to 3 inches wide, and then I'm going to cut it down to about, 4 inches. So that gives me another piece of scrap. Yay! Then I'm going to go ahead, since I have enough, and just cut another piece the same size, and then so 3 by 4, there's me another piece of scrap. And then I think I'll keep that. I was about to throw away a piece of collage paper. Might as well keep it and use it, huh? You just make sure that they are evened up, and they are. I'm going to go ahead and ink these. I want this to be the back, this to be the front. Yep, I like that. And let's ink these. Let's see. First, I want to, do I want to, yeah, let's go around all of them. All the corners. I'm going to use my corner rounder. Whatever punch you have to round your corners, go for it. Does not have to be the same thing I'm using to play along with the challenge. So I'm going to ink my front and back cover and both sides. Now the thing about the papers on the inside, you do not have to ink them if you don't want to. I have not on either one of those inked. So I'm going to show you the one that I made like this, that you don't need a sewing machine. Ink, 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 ink. I'm using walnut stain today, if anybody wanted to know. Alright, so back, front. So I have 3 inches wide by 4 inches long. So I'm going to go through and find papers that are more narrow than what I have here. They do not have to come all the way across. You don't have to find scraps that are as wide, but if you do, great. But that's why this is a scrap. Ooh, looky here. That's why this is a scrap buster challenge. Everything doesn't have to line up, so we can cut that down. I just so happen to have that in my scrap pile over here. It was a piece that I had from a dictionary that I didn't use in something else. So I'm really using a bunch of book page. I'm looking to see if I've got any. Okay, I'm just going to get out a piece of copy paper. And let's cut down some. This is ink dyed paper. I'm just going to go just a little under 3 and cut just maybe 3 of these, just a little under 4 and a little under 4. Okay, there's 2. Let's do one more. Little under 4 and a little under 3. Everybody's got copy paper, so I know that that was not particularly a scrap piece of paper, but everybody has copy paper, so you can use copy paper in this. I'm going to get my tear ruler. I'm just going to use one of these, and let's trim these papers down. So I'm going to get this, just hold it up against my covers and make sure that all of my pages are not too long. This one's a little too wide, so I'm going to trim that up. Okay, there we go. And then this one, a little too long. And I'm not caring if all of them are exactly the same length. I want it to have some interest to it. So I'm going to put on these, since I did cut them a little wider, just to fit up underneath, they're going to need the edges trimmed just a touch. And then I will, ooh, I like that. I like that look. Okay, so you've got the top corners rounded, and then you've got the little torn bit there. And then just start lining up your papers how you might want them in here. Let's do a little bit of trimming off of this copy paper that we cut, and then I'm going to round those corners. You don't have to round all of your edges if you don't want to. You don't have to ink the pages. You do what you would like to do in these little scrap notepads. So now you're just going to line them up and make sure that when you put these together that nothing shows on the outside. Now if you're okay with that, let your papers be long if you want to. Whatever you would like to do. Alright, so that's going to be, I want it this way, and I think I want this to be on top. Or maybe this one. Let's do this and this and this. So arrange your papers how you would like them to be showing. Find the back. You're going to line these papers up at the top of your back cover, and then line them up with your top cover and get some kind of clip, a binder clip, a big paper clip, whatever you would like. I have been putting about 6 or 7 sheets in mine. That just is a good thickness once it gets opened, so that's what I've been going with. So now for the top, all you do is find a scrap piece of paper in your stash and kind of fold it over. It doesn't have to be directly in the middle if you don't want it to be. There are my black-eyed peas done in my pressure cooker for our supper. Okay, I like that. It's just a piece of book page, and then it's got some torn edge on the back. So I'm going to ink where I think it will show on the front of this, and then I'm going to glue it on, and I will cut it down after I get it put on. So yep, that's good. And then look at that. I like how that looks. Okay, I'm going to go ahead, use my glue on either side. Place it on, wipe out any excess glue that it had on it. You're keeping your clip on because remember, your papers are still not bound inside, so keep your clip on at this point. Alright, and then I'm going to go straight up. Alright, and then if it'll fit and work, it won't. So I'm going to round, just feel and round, feel and round, feel and round. There we go. And just feel it and round it. So I've got that done. I'm going to ink a little bit more here on these edges and on the top edge. Okay, now you're still clipped. Don't take the clip out. Now you're going to get your hole punch, whatever punch you use to punch holes. And I think it looks really good if the hole is off the edge of the binding we just put on the top. I just like how that looks. So I'm going to do that again. So my hole punch is just barely off the edge there. And then I'm going to come over and make sure that I'm pretty much in the middle. I don't really care if it's not totally centered up. I think that looks pretty good. Alright, and then I'm going to throw some stuff first. And then I'm going to get my ribbon and put through one side. Okay, and then I'm going to trim that off. Put it through the other side, if it will cooperate. There we go. And then it's just easier for me, especially with this sheer ribbon like this. Okay, you're going to tie really tight. First knot, hold it down, and then you're going to start tying your second knot to double that up right on top of it. Got to make sure that those knots are very tight. Center your knot up in between the holes that you punched. Okay, and then just to give it a little bit more character, like I did that one, I'm going to center that up a little bit more, and then just cut a little banner notch in my ribbon. Like that. And that one looks a lot better. It's more straight than that one is. But take your clip off, and you have a little notepad filled up with scrap paper or copy paper, and it would be gorgeous in any journal. Now I want to kind of decorate up the front, maybe with a little bit of collage of some kind. Oh, I like that. And then add a little something else down there. So let's go ahead and ink that at the top anyway, and ink this at the top. Glue them down, and then I'll trim it. That just so happened to be wide enough for this piece. Cute. Let's see. Let's go ahead, trim this off. And ink my edges of that. And then maybe a little word label of some kind. I like that one. Okay, and maybe a little dyed cheesecloth back behind it. I like that. Ink that up, and then I'm going to use, since it's just cheesecloth, I think I'll be alright just using regular liquid glue. I think that's Barely Arts that I have in my big Sugar Bell bottle. I mean, you can decorate it as much as you want to, or just leave it. That was pretty paper anyway on the front that I used, so you can leave it as is if you want to. But that is one way of making our little notepads. Now you can decorate the insides too if you want to, even the back, because this is just going to be going in and out of a pocket. I think it will be fine if you wanted to decorate the back too. So there's one way to make our little scrap notepads. The other way is if you have a sewing machine. Let's use this piece of beautiful paper. This is 3 1/4 by 5. And I have that same copy paper. Let's cut this as the back. That goes. That's pretty. So I need 3 1/4 by 5. And with this one, I'm just going to, I think, round my top 2 corners. I like that look. Now on this one, my front piece was not as big as my back piece, and I love that look. I love that you can see some of the papers back behind it. I love that you can see some of the back. You could even make your back piece a little taller and cut it like a tag shape and have a little hole in the top and have a little tassel out at the top of it with your front cover a little smaller than the back. That would be cute too. Now with this, I'm going to use that as the back. This is my front. I need some pieces. I'm just going to go a little under 3 inches and about 4 3/4 inches. Let's see what that looks like in there. Yep, that looks fine in there. I need to come up some so you can see all of my cutting, huh? So there's some more copy paper. Here is a piece of thin cardstock, just white thin cardstock that would go. It's not as long, but I'm okay with it not being as long as everything else. Just put it all in there. I like that piece. That's doesn't even have to be cut. That's a piece that I really love because it doesn't have to be cut. Now with this one, we're going to sew it. So even if they're really narrow, that's going to be okay because we're going to sew all the way across. So it's going to catch all of those pieces. Then I have another one of those pieces like I used in that one. That's pretty. Now let's cut us, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's cut 2 more pieces from this dyed paper. Okay, and then figure out how we want it all to go in there. So I think that one, and then this one, and this one, that one, this one. I like that. And line them up just so. I'm going to paper clip all my papers first, and then I'm going to ink the edges of my covers. Okay, then I'm going to line these up like this. First off, got to line them up with the back cover, like I said in the other one. Now, if you're very, very particular on everything being lined up and in center, you need to go ahead and get that done. But then you're just going to look through and make sure that everything is all the way to the top. And when you go to sew, that it's all going to catch. So you can sew around your cover first, your front cover, and then go across and sew. I'm just going to do a little zigzag stitch here, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so there is my wonky little zigzag stitch at the top, making sure that I caught all of my papers, and I did. So we're good there. I do not care that it's not straight. And then we can do some little collage on the front, or just, you know, barely decorate. You don't have to make it a huge decoration on the outside if you don't want to. I love this paper, so I don't want to cover up too much of it. So I'm thinking maybe just a little bit of book page, a little tag, and a bird stamp die cut, and maybe a little number label. These are new from Tim Holtz and we love them. We've got these in the shop, and y'all seem to love them too because you're buying them out. I'm having to keep on ordering more. Let's do a bigger number. Maybe, ooh, like this one. Yeah, I like that. Okay, and ink up everything. And then just start gluing on. I just barely want that book page to show over that. And then put that down. And not cover up too much stuff on this pretty scrapbook paper. So see, when you pick out a pretty piece of scrapbook paper, or even just a busy piece of scrapbook paper, you've kind of you've made it easy on yourself as far as making your little notebooks, because you don't have to do too much to it if you don't want to, if the paper is something that you love the look of. Just off to the side there. Dab off any extra glue that I've got. And then there is another little notepad made. Cute, huh? And just great to add into any little pocket. Or, I mean, you could use these as little brag books if you wanted to. You could give them as gifts if you wanted to. Let's make one more. We're on a roll. Let's make one more. We can make another like this one. Those are so easy. And like I said, these are cut aparts from a paper pad. So let's see. Let's use this one and do this as the front. Okay, I'm going to leave my edges like they are. So no corner rounding on this one. This one is probably the easiest of all of them, especially if you don't corner round, because you don't have to go around and do your own little corner edge like I had to on that one. I'm just inking both sides of my little covers. And these little dainty things, they're tiny. So this is a mini junk journal notepad. We're looking at like 2 1/4 by 3 1/4, something like that. So little bitty, but easy. Alright, so I'm going to line these up and just cut some papers a little shorter than my back cover, and then, or whatever cover I've got it laid on. And then a little more narrow. So there's the first little one. That is so cute. I love that. And then I've got these papers. Oh, those are like almost perfect as far as width. Okay, so I'm just going to line these up with my cover. and trim off, and go ahead and do that again with these same ones. And that will get me, let's see, that's already 5 sheets right there. Well, if you would turn the ruler around the right way, you could trim that a whole lot easier. Let's go ahead and use this piece on here. I'll just tear this one by hand. And I think we're good as far as pages, don't y'all? Yep. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do one more dictionary page. 5, 6, and then one on the back. 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then I want this one as the front, so I'm going to put like this, and then line that one up, and then tap, 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 put on my huge paper clip. Then find a little strip of scrap that you would love on there. I like that. Okay, let's go ahead and trim this up just a little bit. And then I want it more narrow, of course, than that. Okay, and then I'm just going to fold it in half. Make sure we're pretty lined up, and it looks like we are. The polka dots are kind of throwing me off a little bit. They don't look like they're as lined up as they should be. That is cute. I like that. So I'm going to line it up right at the edge here, so that way I just have one side to cut off. I'm going to ink around, then I'll come back and ink once I've trimmed off. I'm going to add glue to either side, put it on and line it up. Yeah, it's not perfectly straight, but I'm okay with that too. Polka dots kind of make my eyes go all cross. Okay, and then just trim off that one side. Ink the top and all your little sides. Ink there more if you want to. That one's cute. Alright, now remember, don't take your paper clip off yet, because you still got to poke your holes. Alright, so I'm just going to barely go off that little piece, and then kind of center up and barely go off that one too. Let's get a different kind of ribbon to go in this one. Right, let's see if this will work. It's a little wider than what I was working with, but I think it still will work. Let's pull it through and then poke the other side through. Okay. Ooh, I like how sturdy that feels. We're good. Okay, and then tie. And oh no, let's see what a bow would look like. I'm afraid that the ribbon's too big and it's going to look too gaudy. We shall see, huh? To tie a bow. I don't know, I like that. I like gaudy. Oh man. Let's pull this little tail down and pull this one down. I like gaudy. Oh my, I'm going to leave it like that. Of course, now when I go to add this into a journal, that's probably going to be so gaudy that it's not going to be able to stay like that. So I'll have to just make it a double knot. But right now, I'm going to leave it like it is. Because I love that. It's like here in the South, when we put a bow in our little girl's hair, the bigger the bow, the closer to Jesus. That's a silly saying here in the South. Because everybody, it seems like, puts these huge bows in these little bitty babies' hair. And the bow's bigger than their head is, and that's just a little silly saying we got going on here in the South. Now, like on this one that I did with the sewing, I put some, I made little holes in it, and I put some twine through that, and we could do that with this one if we wanted to. Just go straight over those sew lines if you want to, and put some twine in there just to dress it up a little bit more. But if you need some that's pretty flat to go into a bulky journal, that is the way to go, because you've really just got that sewn piece at the top and everything else is pretty flat. Look how thin that one is. I will give you some up close and personal details of these at the end. That one's just cracking me up. I love how big that bow is. I love it. And look at all the little papers. I didn't show you how they all looked after I put it all together. That one's just darling. And I think the bow is just enough. We don't have to add any more decoration to that one if we don't want to. So anyway, here's what I have made for today's or this week's M's Scrap Busters Challenge. And I hope that you play along. I have had fun making these. They are easy mass making projects. So if you've got quite a bit of scrap, even cutting down the scrap papers that go inside of these while you're sitting and watching TV, you could do that. Easy, easy, easy project. And that's what I try to give y'all each week. And I hope that y'all have enjoyed this. Y'all have a great day. God bless. I will see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.